John Green, and this is Crash Course US History. Today we'll be talking about the top 10 most important events that have happened in the United States of America since you and I have been living. Except for you, Mrs. Larson. You've been living way longer. Today we'll discuss events that happened not only in America, but events that also happened elsewhere that helped shape America into the great, amazing, fantastic, schooly-pooping country that it is today. To start us off on our number 10 event, we have a space exploration advancement. On January 26, 2004, NASA's Mars rover landed on the Red Planet. This rover revolutionized the way we view Mars by taking pictures, taking rock and soil samples, and finding evidence of water on Mars. This successful landing upheld our reputation from Apollo 11 that America is basically the best country in the history of, well, pretty much ever. Also, this was a huge technological advancement in the space industry. Event number 9 is the election of Barack Obama. He defeated John McCain in 2008 and then again won against Mitt Romney in 2012. His victory was significant because he was the first African American president of the United States of America. This opened the door for new possibilities such as a woman candidate in the election of 2016. This also changed the American identity because countries viewed us even greater than we already were. Coming in at number 8 is the election of George W. Bush at the turn of the millennium in the year 2000. He ran against Al Gore, and this was probably the most intense presidential election in American history. The electoral count was so close that the decision came down to Florida's vote. The Florida vote was so close that after a heated debate, the Supreme Court ruled that a recount would be held in Florida. The state ended up going to George Bush by 537 votes, which was 0.0009% of the population. Another reason that this election was so significant was because this was one of 4 elections in which the president lost the popular vote. Significant event number 7 is the release of the iMac, the iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad. Apple released the iMac in 1998, which became the leading computer in America. The iPod was introduced in 2001 and offered America 1,000 songs in your pocket, which took us out of the age of MP3 players. The release of the iPhone in 2007 revolutionized the phone industry tremendously by offering the first ever touchscreen cell phone. This is basically the event that affects yours and my life the most, so that's why it made our top 10 list. All of these technological advancements helped shape America into the great country it is by improving communication, and it made life easier for those smart enough to get an iPhone. Oh, it's time for the mystery document. The rules here are simple. If I guess the author of the mystery document, I don't get shocked. If I'm wrong, I do. Let's see what we got here. Kirby, go get my water. I swear, once you make office, you just get more annoying. Whatever you're doing, stop it. Sit down. I'm a giver. It's my only crime. She gets mad at Kirby, so she's probably a teacher from Clearfield High. She probably teaches history. I have no idea. I'm just gonna go for it. Is it Mrs. Wimmer? No? Oh man. Ah! On a sad note, we introduce our number 6 event, recent terrorism around the world. In April of 2013, 2 bombs went off near the finish line of the Boston Marathon. 3 were killed and over 260 people were injured because of stupid terrorists. Since it was the most major attack on US soil since 9/11, we cracked down even harder on security and took more anti-terrorist measures. Then came the Paris attacks in 2015, and most recently, the bombings in the Brussels airport in 2016. Each of these events led to sentimental feelings of the US to these other countries. After the Paris attacks, we came together as a nation, and Pray for Paris was all over the internet and social media. This showed how supportive we were to other nations in the world. Coming in at number 5 is Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Katrina was one of the most devastating natural disasters that had hit America. On August 29, 2005, the beachfront towns in Mississippi and Louisiana were slammed with this terrible storm. In New Orleans, about 20% of its 500,000 people were trapped on their rooftops without food or drinking water. 80% of this town was submerged in water. This impacted the environment because it destroyed the geography, and billions of dollars were lost in the state. Now we're going to talk about the reason you can even watch this video right now, YouTube. Significant event number 4 is the explosion of the World Wide Web. Here's the chronological order of the most popular websites today. Facebook was introduced in 2003 as well as MySpace. Google goes public in 2004. YouTube is launched in 2005 and Twitter in 2006. I mean, come on. Who couldn't live without Twitter?
Ooh, Mr. Green, Mr. Green! Now that Twitter's released, can I come up with really lame Twitter handles for myself, like Two Trees, or KirbyLish11, or Spencer_Silva42, or 17 Jocelyn Joe?
Oh, me from the past. Actually, you have a good point. Those are really lame handles. Anyways, now that the internet was part of everyday life, it made everything more accessible. Basically, the knowledge of the world was at the click of a button, especially since Google went public. Ideas were exchanged, people got smarter, some got dumber. But the technological advancement of the introduction of the internet is that it created a more connected society in America, as well as a more connected world. Now on to number 3. One of the most important wars in the 21st century, the war on Iraq. Tensions rose in the Middle East after 9/11 and Bush declared war on Iraq in 2003. We invaded and eventually toppled the regime of Saddam Hussein by capturing him that same year. This also led to the eventual execution of Osama bin Laden, which was a relief to many Americans, because he straight up sucks. This war and invasion of the Middle East shows how the US displayed their military and governmental powers throughout the world. America's not only making itself great, but it's helping other countries to be even greater. And we've come to the second most important event since we've been alive. The Great Recession. Dun dun dun! Being the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. This happened when the rapidly expanding housing bubble suddenly burst, and the stock market crashed at the end of 2008. Unemployment rose from 4.7% in November of 2007 to 10% in October of 2009. That's crazy! This caused people to spend less, which meant that businesses went out of business and more jobs were lost. This affected millions of Americans in the workforce, and recovery from the recession was very slow. We are still suffering from the effects. Guys, we've made it! We've come to the most important event in our lifetimes. Let's go to the thought bubble. On September 11, 2001, militants associated with the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 airliners and carried out suicide attacks against the United States. It was a clear Tuesday morning when at 8:45 a.m. an American airliner crashed into the World Trade Center in New York City. What was thought to be a freak accident turned out to be a terrorist attack when a second plane sliced into the second building 18 minutes later. A third plane smashed into the Pentagon at 9:45 a.m., killing almost 200. Heroic passengers on a 4th flight aimed for Washington, D.C. caused the plane to crash land in a Pennsylvania field. Around 10 a.m., the attackers killed a total of 2,996 people and injured more than 6,000 others. This tragic event will be remembered forever. Possibly the most significant impact of 9/11 is the patriotism that arose the following months. Citizens gathered to mourn losses and to remember that dreadful day, carrying flags and joining together. Another huge impact is that Bush released a war on terror, and we intervened in the Middle East to prevent any further terrorist attacks. It was super annoying because security measures were upgraded to the max at airports. I mean, now I can't even bring my own mouthwash on a plane. In the famous words of George W. Bush, he said, "Terrorist attacks can shake the foundation of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shatter steel, but they cannot dent the steel of American resolve." Thank you, George. Guys, we did it. We're done. We've discussed the top 10 most important events that have happened in mine and yours lifetime. I just need you guys to remember this, though. That America has been, is now, and always will be the greatest country in the history of ever. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week on Crash Course when we discuss... No. I'll see you next period. Thanks for watching. Crash Course is produced and directed by Mitch Fry. Our script supervisor is Mitch Fry. The show is written by Mitch Fry, and our graphics team is my little brother. Oh, with the help of Mitch Fry. As they say in my hometown, stay classy, Falcons. Oh, okay. The release of the iPhone in 2007 revolutionized, helped shape America by making it a great country. What? I know she's a... Then came the Paris bombings and I messed it up. Then came the bombings at Paris and I suck at this. Here's the list of them. Basically, all the world knowledge I hate.
I'm filming.
Right now. Here's Sahara Desert, over here's Egypt. What the heck? That's what it was. Being the worst economic downturn since to 2000. This successful? We've come to the top event of our freaking lives! Okay. The most significant, I don't even know what the time is. Stop it. That's a profound statement. Here. Are you filming?
Uh-huh.
Still?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Okay. I just need you guys to remember this, that America was the greatest country. It was almost good! It was almost good! I wish you